The Untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing game's been missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, yesterday I had a chance to go to a card here in South Florida, in Weston. It was the first ever Weston Fight Night brought to you in part by Bad Promotions. So shout out to Bad Promotions. It was the return of Bad Promotions, but not just the return of Bad Promotions, the return of high-class boxing and entertainment. So shout out to Blake Davis, Johnny Farace, and everybody who put the card together. It was a great event down there at the Bonaventure Resort and Spa out there in Weston. So yeah, really great night of boxing, and I'm gonna talk about the card and put you guys on game as to what happened and some of these fighters in South Florida. And you might become a fan because I will be posting clips of these fighters as the week progresses. So with that being said, I'm gonna start from the main event and work my way down. So in the main event, you had Pistol Pete Dobson, a welterweight prospect. He took on 60-fight journeyman Carlos Winston Velasquez. And Winston Velasquez, he's been in there with a lot of fighters, man. He's been there with Josue Vargas, Ryan Martin, Thomas Cornflake Lamana, Cowboy Ryan Carl, Harold Calderon, Frederick Lawson. A lot of guys, a lot of fighters, man. And he knows how to survive. He knows his way around the ring, especially in the 6th-rounder. And that's what he came to do against Pistol Pete Dobson. Pistol Pete, one of the best kept secrets in all of boxing. He's been in camp with all the top welterweights, all the top names you could think of: Terrence Crawford, Duran Jr, Maurice Hooker, Adrian Broner. And he's been beating up people in the gyms for a long time. He's one of those gym legends, so to speak, where he's having his way with top guys in the gyms. And he had some managerial problems. This is his first fight since he fought on the Manny Pacquiao-Keith Thurman undercard. So he's coming off of basically a 2-year layoff. And, all circumstances considered, I thought Pete performed well. He showed good timing, good boxing IQ. He did score a knockdown later in the fight. And he was throwing this good little counter when he would step backwards. It was a good performance for Pete. And I think a more match fit, more sharp Pete, more active Pete Dobson would have stopped Carlos Winston Velasquez. But I won't even hold that against him, because in this state of boxing we're in right now with the global pandemic and whatnot, there's a lot of fighters that are going to come in inactive with a lot of ring rust. And the most valuable thing any fighter can get right now is rounds. And Pete got rounds. He got a knockdown. It wasn't a fight that was close. He won all the rounds pretty much. So good performance from him, and I'm looking forward to seeing Pete continue his rise up the welterweight division, because when I interviewed him recently, and he said that he has those ambitions of fighting the names like Duran Jr and Virgil Ortiz and any of these guys in the top 10. So hopefully he continues to pick up wins, look impressive doing it, and I believe he will, when the time is right, get the call for a big fight, and you guys will be finding out who he is in the next, year to 2 years, I believe, as long as he's active and staying match fit. So good win for him. He improves to 12-0. Now, the best fight of the night, the best and most exciting fight of the night was the co-main event. And the co-main event featured a local homegrown talent, the guy that's the promoter of the card, but for those of you who don't know, just in case you don't know, Blake Davis, Bad Blake Davis, he's a cruiserweight / light heavyweight prospect coming to you from South Florida. Bad Promotions is his promotional company. So he was the co-main event on his own promotional company. And Blake, I've had a chance to go to almost all of his fights, but with the exception of 2. And Blake's 6'5". He's a long, rangy fighter, got good power. And most of his fights that I've been to and that I've seen, he normally drops these fighters in the first round. And when he drops them in the first round, he basically doesn't show the extra bit of quality to stop these guys, but he shows the quality to drop them and be dangerous. And this fight was completely different than all the Blake Davis fights that I've gone to. This fight, he fought a fighter in Lawrence Gabriel who was 3-2-1 coming in. And Lawrence Gabriel took Blake to some deep, dark, uncomfortable places he's never been to in the ring. He dropped him on, he put him on his ass. He had him damn near out of there. Blake was getting hit with a lot of hard, clean shots early in the fight. And I was sitting here to myself thinking, yo, this might be it for Blake. This might be the night he takes his first loss. And it's like the minute he got dropped, that's when he really started fighting for real. He was throwing big grown man punches. Blake Davis. He hit Lawrence Gabriel with a straight right hand, and it buzzed him and it had him hurt. And when he saw him hurt, he was like a shark in the water who smelled blood. The minute he saw it, he pounced and he threw straight right hand. He knocked his mouthpiece out first, then he knocked his teeth. His teeth were all over the ring. and it was one of the most devastating knockouts I've seen in person in a long time. So, it would, to me, in my personal opinion, I've had a chance to watch Blake's fights. I thought it was the signature moment of his career because I'm gonna tell you guys straight. I'm gonna tell it right. Here in South Florida, Blake comes from a good family and a good background where he's made a lot of money, and boxing is predominantly a poor man's sport, lower income areas. Most people from boxing are from the ghetto. Blake's not from that. So with that being said, sometimes when people talk about him, they question him. They question how far it can go, how far they can, how far, what does he have in here? What kind of stuff is Blake made of? And I think, look, he fought a guy who was 3-2-1, but at the same time, like, whenever you get tested in that ring, whenever you get dropped in that ring, that's when you find out what you're made of. And he responded very, very well. And he produced the moment of his career thus far. So I think it's a positive for Blake. I think Blake is going to take that. Hopefully for his sake, he stays in the gym and continues to listen to the coach Kevin and Jeff and them guys and Jesse Robinson and everybody. And he continues to develop as a fighter because he has the mind and the confidence to fight under those lights. I've told him that before. So hopefully that continues. And, I'm looking at his box rec right now. It says he's got three fights scheduled for this year. One in Weston, 2 in Hollandale at the Gulfstream Racing Casino. So I think they're all going to be his shows. Bad Promotion is going to have put on 4 shows this year, and Blake's going to be active. So that's what we want to see. We want to see Blake Davis active, making waves in South Florida, and then being exciting here in South Florida, and then eventually graduating past the South Florida level and making some waves on the world stage. But good performance from him. Very proud of my friend Blake Davis, and what he did. Moving on, we had an upset on the card. This is the only upset on the card. We had Ryan Adams, 7-2-1, fighting a fighter from Warriors Gym here in South Florida named Kosmibek Mardanov. I had a chance to watch Kosmibek's pro debut, and he dropped the guy with a body shot back in January. And this fight, let's have it right. I like him, but he got exposed, for having lack of stamina. And when the tough got going, he started holding, and the referee deducted a point. And Adams was tough. He was durable. He came to win, and credit to him, he did, man. Shout out to Ryan Adams. Ryan Adams really went in there and he upset a good little prospect from Uzbekistan. So shout out to him. Kozmibek's got to go back to the drawing board, and I'm sure Timur Ibragimov and the fine folks down there at Warriors Gym will have a good plan for him moving forward. Also on that card, we had Isaiah Night Thompson, who's a prospect that I'm very high on. I like Isaiah Night Thompson because me and him are from the same gym. We're from the same gym. I don't train there no more, but I'm saying the gym that I learned how to box at in Dania Beach, the only boxing gym in Dania Beach, Canino's boxing gym. Isaiah is from that gym. He's trained by the great Monty Canino and Yvonne Reese. And he was 3-0 with 3 knockouts all in the first round coming into this fight. And he fought 0-2 Cedric Washington. And I was hoping that we would get another first-round knockout from Isaiah. We didn't get it. The fight went the full distance. But Isaiah showed, I thought it was good for Isaiah because you can only knock out people so many times before you had to go rounds. So it was good for him to get the full 4 rounds in. I think his stamina, at least from what I could see, his stamina still needs some work. He's going to need some more rounds. But all things considered, he was dangerous. He had this guy hurt a couple times. Dude was awkward, and the guy it was the rare southpaw versus southpaw match. They were both southpaw, so I speaking as a fellow southpaw myself, sometimes it's weird when you fight another southpaw. And the guy was really good. The guy wasn't really good at much, but he was good at smothering Isaiah's punches and closing the gap on him. But he just really didn't have anything with him as far as punching power or straight punches. So I thought Isaiah did a good job using his feet, controlling the center of the ring in pockets of the fight. And he definitely won the fight, but you can still clearly see with Isaiah, he's still very raw. But he's got the tools to go really far. I really think he's got the tools to be a dangerous fighter in the cruiserweight division moving forward. You got him throwing really hard punches. I wanted to see more of that uppercut from him because I've seen it in the gym and I've seen it in his highlight tapes and stuff like that. But, we didn't really see as much of the uppercut in this fight. But all in all, he improves to 4-0, 4-0, 3 knockouts. And that's what it is. Shout out to Isaiah Night Thompson. He's someone that I think, to me, he's one of the most interesting prospects in South Florida boxing because of his ceiling, his ceiling. I think he's got a high ceiling because of his speed, his physical strength, his punching power. He's going to be able to bully a lot of guys in the cruiserweight division. So remember that name, man. Isaiah Thompson. They call him Night Night. He's from Canino's gym. So, yeah, he goes to 4-0. You also have on the card another friend of the channel, my main man, 50 grand, Robert Duran Jr. Now, Robert Duran Jr., he took on Christian Danilo Guido. Now, Christian Danilo Guido, I was talking to one of the matchmakers for the fight, or my boy Johnny Farace, who helped put the event together, and he was telling me about Danilo. And Danilo, he's 8-15, but he comes from a Muay Thai background, and he had like, from what he told me, according to him, he had like 100 Muay Thai fights. So guy's tough, knows how to survive. Had a real awkward style. And that's why you can't just go by records on BoxRec. He had an upside down record, but he came to fight. He was throwing these like weird 5-6 punch combinations, and it was a fight for Robert Duran Jr. where he had to be patient. He had to pick his shots and not open himself up as much to this guy. And I thought he picked his shots nicely. I thought he went to the body pretty nicely. He remained patient enough. He scored a knockdown in the last 90 seconds of the last round, which was the 6th round. And he almost had him out of there a couple times, but it was a good fight. It was the perfect fight for Duran because he got a guy that offered him some resistance. He got a guy that was awkward. He got a guy where he can go in there and work on some things with, but he still got to build his confidence and get a knockdown. And I had a chance to watch Robert Duran Jr. spar Pete Dobson, who fought in the main event, and he's getting some great work in the gym. I can tell you, he's getting some great work in the gym. And, he's the son of a legend. We know he's the son of a legend. He's the son of Roberto Duran Jr. But he's making his own name in boxing. Robert Duran is making his own name in boxing. And, he started boxing later on in his life, but the guy works extremely hard. He's a real fighter. When you talk to him, I know a real fighter when I talk to him, and he's a real fighter. And I think with him, he's going to be in exciting fights as he continues to progress up the professional ranks. And I'm looking forward to seeing how he continues to develop because Robert Duran Jr. can really fight, last time I was at the gym, he joked around about us getting some sparring, and we'll get it in for sure, Rob. One of these days we'll get it in. But yeah, go in from him. He improves to 7-1, and just a good performance from him. And then the other 2 fights I didn't get a chance to watch, but I heard about them, so I'll give you guys my synopsis on what I heard and what I saw in clips. So we had a fighter by the name of J Fade. They call him J Fade. His name is Joannis Slavan. And Joannis Slavan, he's from Delray Beach Boxing Club. He trains here at Delray Beach Boxing Club. He's a 154-pound prospect. He's done a lot of sparring with Erickson Lubin. And that's obviously great work because Lubin's a world-class 154-pounder. And he fought a fighter by the name of Stanley Alexander, who was 0-5. And there's not much to make of the fight. He beat the fuck out of him and stopped him in 1 round. And just good for him, man. It's what you want to do to that caliber opponent at this stage of your career. So I'm not going to make too much of it. But I had a chance to talk to him after the fight. He's a real calm dude. I would classify him as the strong, silent type because that's the impression I got from him when I interviewed him. And he's someone that I think you guys should look out for. A good fighter, and I'm looking forward to learning more about him. And then another fight that I didn't get a chance to see was a fighter by the name of Henry Sedano Martinez and Joseph Sally. And from what I heard, Martinez knocked out Sally in I think it was about a round and looked pretty good doing it. And it was interesting because I just got to the arena, the venue, right when his fight ended. And to my surprise, Punch Drunk Boxing from YouTube, Punch Drunk Boxing was one of the guys in the corner from him. He had Punch Drunk Boxing, had a spit bucket in his hand, and I had a chance to be Punch Drunk Boxing. So apparently, from what I heard, this guy, Punch Drunk Boxing, I guess I discovered this guy, and then this guy had like Kenny Porter. It was Kenny Porter, Punch Drunk Boxing, working this guy, Henry Sedano Martinez's corner. So much love to him. He won his pro debut, and hopefully he can have a fruitful career in the sport of boxing. And that's just my 15-minute synopsis on the card. I'm gonna be posting clips. I'm gonna try to interview some of these fighters in the near future. But a lot of good talent on this card. Fight of the night. The fight of the night goes to Blake Davis and Lawrence Gabriel. They really put on a barn burner, a great fight. And performer of the night, I would also have to say it had to be Blake Davis. Because the way he performed. Either him or Pete, I would say Pete dropped a really game crafty journeyman that is not very easy to knock out. Carlos Winston Velasquez has went the distance with some fighters we know about. Like he went the distance with Ryan Carl, who can punch. He went the distance with Josue Vargas. He went the distance with Thomas Cornflake Lamana, who got knocked out last night by Lara. He went the distance with a lot of people. So I would either say Peter Blake. Isaiah Thompson was good, but I think Isaiah, just personal opinion, he got what he needed, but he left a little bit to be desired for me, but that's okay because he's only 4 fights in, so I'm not going to be too harsh on the guy. Who else? All these fights are good. All these fights are good. Robert Duran had a good performance, and I'm looking forward to the next Bad Promotion show, which is apparently going to be in June 26th, they're saying. So June 26th, the next Weston fight night, I'll be at that one. And yeah, should be a good time. But yeah, that's my synopsis on the fight. Stay tuned for the clips that I'll be posting. And if you were at the fight, if you know any of these fighters I'm talking about, just drop any comments you may have about them or their fights or whatever in the comments down below. Take care.